Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, baseball hosts their first conference series.
And the women's tennis team wins a crucial match against Purdue. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Noah Harrison.
And I'm Alex Hines.
Alex, how busted was your bracket? I know March Madness just ended. How'd that end up?
Lasted a whole one game. We'll put it behind us.
Well, yeah, it's baseball season, so maybe better luck with that. Indiana baseball team took on Northwestern at home in the first Big Team series of the season. Our Josh Bodie has the scoop from the weekend.
Indiana baseball lost the first Big Ten series of the season to Northwestern 2-1. Inconsistent pitching once again plagued the Hoosiers, especially on Sunday without having a reliable third starter.
I think anytime you prefer to have a third starter, a tried and true third starter. Right now we obviously don't have one. But like I told the guys, we're talented enough on the mound to do what they did, which is to contain, to be able to use 6 or 7 different guys, to keep them guessing, to be able to utilize in different situations guys that can just do their job and execute. So we're talented enough to do that. We're good enough to do that. But we didn't do that today.
And with the Indiana pitchers' struggles, the Northwestern offense capitalized. In wins on Saturday and Sunday, they put up 20 combined runs and were very effective with 2 outs.
They play together as a team. They don't overswing. They hit the ball the other way. They're physical. They have flat swings. Like they recognize spin really well. They do a lot of really good things. And so anytime that we just continue to give somebody opportunities and you have a talented enough lineup, like someone's eventually going to tag them. Whether it's 1 out or 2 outs or no outs, if you have, you find yourself in those situations enough, someone will eventually, do the damage or make you pay the price.
Northwestern's starting pitchers were dominant. They only allowed 2 earned runs in 16 total innings. Michael Farinelli was especially effective on Saturday.
That kid pitched his tail off. Kudos to him. He gives no free bases. They're not making errors, and so there's no freebies throughout the game. And today they did a wonderful job. They forced you into playing a different style of baseball, and we didn't do a good enough job of adjusting to that.
Indiana looks to bounce back on Tuesday when they visit Evansville before heading to Purdue for a weekend series. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Josh Bodie.
Indiana also dropped their midweek game to Evansville 8-4. Their record now sits at 11-16 before they square off against Purdue and West Lafayette.
Indiana softball continued conference play this past weekend in Madison against the Wisconsin Badgers. On Friday, Team 49 started the first game of the day strong with junior Cora Bassett hitting an inside-the-park home run and Taylor Minnick doubling in 2 runs in the first inning to put the Hoosiers up 3-0. However, the lead did not last long, with the Badgers tying up the game in the third. Wisconsin took the lead for good with a 2-run home run in the 5th inning. Indiana fought back to get within a run, but the Badgers would hold them off to win 7-5. Indiana would bounce back in the nightcap with a 7-5 victory. Sophomore Brooke Benson and freshman Taylor Minnick powered the offense by each hitting a home run. The Hoosiers as a team had 13 hits in the game. The Hoosiers took an early 1-run lead in the Sunday's game after sophomore Aaliyah Andrews stole second, third, and then home to score. The excitement of stealing a run did not last long as Brooke Benson collided with the Wisconsin catcher, which led to her and head coach Sean DeStanton getting ejected from the game. The Hoosiers would lose the third game 6-2. Team 49 will host the Rutgers Scarlet Knights this weekend at Andy Moore Field. They're still in search of their first Big Ten series win.
The NCAA swimming season may be finished, but there were 2 championship meets that some Hoosier swimmers participated in last week. Hoosiers Mariah Dennigan and Maggie Wallace both went to compete in the Open Water National Championships at Fort Myers Beach. Dennigan finished 2nd overall in the 10K National Championships out of 24 swimmers. Wallace went up scratching but did not participate in the 10K. With the top 2 finish, Dennigan now has earned herself a spot on the U.S. Open Water National Team. Hoosiers, both current and former, competed in the TYR Pro Swim Series as well. There were a handful of top 10 finishes by current Hoosiers Anna Peplowski, Mikey Calvillo, Brianna Crawford, Noelle Peplowski, and Anna Freed. Former well-known IU swimmers like Lily King and Zach Apple also had some great swims in San Antonio. The next national test for the Hoosiers will be the last week of April at Phillips 66 International Team Trials. Swimmers will fight for a chance to represent the country in the FINA World Championship meet this summer.
Our water polo beat reporter Lauren Booher now joins us in studio for an interview with a special guest. Lauren?
Thanks, Alex. I'm here with an Indiana water polo player that scored a team best 62 goals last season, was named a two-time academic All-Big Ten athlete, and earned a spot on the MPSF All-Newcomer team during her freshman year. I'm pleased to welcome Izzy Mandema. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Lauren.
To start, what made you want to play the sport of water polo?
So growing up, I was an avid soccer player, and I wanted to be a professional soccer player. I broke my foot, and quickly my career path changed. At the time, both my cousins were playing water polo, so I decided to give it a shot, and I fell in love with it.
That's awesome. And then which pool is your favorite to play in?
So growing up, all of my uncles played water polo at Bellarmine High School. So Bellarmine has always been my favorite pool to play at because my family actually donated the pool. So anytime I go there, I feel like I'm at home.
Now, you're originally from Atherton, California, and you had multiple Division I offers coming out of high school. What made you want to come and move to the Midwest and play at Indiana?
I know this sounds super cliche, but I always say it. When I walked on campus, I felt like I was at home, and that's what really sold me. And then the team is still amazing, the family and the whole idea of love, and I didn't see that anywhere else, and that's why I chose IU.
Now, during your time here at IU, you've endured an injury, a coaching change, a conference change, and a pandemic. How were you able to handle this adversity?
Adversity has been our team word for a really long time now, so I always say that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react, and that is kind of how I have gone through all of this. I give myself a minute to feel bad about myself, whatever it is, and after that, it's how I'm going to respond to this. And I'm thankful that I had supportive teammates, family, and coaches that when any adversity struck, we were ready to handle it.
Now, after 4 years, you're now a starting captain and center for this university. What has this program meant to you, and how have you transitioned into those leadership roles this past year?
This program means everything to me, and it's definitely shaped me into the woman I am today. You know, it's definitely been a roller coaster, but I've enjoyed the ride, and I think having all the support you can have through IU athletics, again, through my family, my teammates, the coaches, it's just been amazing. And being a leader, I always want to think, how can I better my teammates? That betters myself. And that's how I look at it every day. How can I be the best person I can be so that my teammates can get better and I can get better and that this program can ultimately get better?
Your team seems to have a great chemistry, especially with your coaches. And during the doubleheader games on March 26, you actually passed one of your coaches, Candace Schroeder, as the 7th all-time leading scorer in Indiana water polo history. What does that accomplishment mean to you?
You know, I am so proud. Of course, I couldn't have done it without the support of my teammates. And to beat Candace, but to beat her and to know her and have a relationship with her, it makes it a little more special. I'm super proud that I could get my name up there, and all I can do is hopefully go up. So.
And then as the season comes to a close, what are your career plans for the future? And are you planning on playing water polo or doing anything with water polo after you graduate?
So I'm currently going to take a year off before I go to grad school and work in the public health field. I have a couple job opportunities, so I will pursue those. And then after that, I will go to grad school and hopefully be able to coach in grad school. I'm not quite ready to let go of this water polo world. I love it so much. It's been part of my life for so long. So hopefully a good coaching opportunity will come up for me in grad school.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in your season, and thank you for joining me today. Make sure to follow Izzy and the rest of the Indiana water polo team with IUSTV Sports throughout the rest of the season. Noah, Alex, back to you.
Coming up after the break, we will highlight tennis and track and fields weekend.
And our own Evan Kamiko gives us the latest news regarding the men's basketball team. You're watching Hoosier Sports Nite.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Nite.
We're going to send it over to IUS TV men's basketball beat reporter Evan Kamiko with an update on the program. Evan?
Well, it was another busy off-season week from Indiana men's basketball, but we start with the biggest news so far. Starting point guard Xavier Johnson was arrested over the weekend for reckless driving and resisting arrest. Johnson was behind the wheel Saturday night and was caught traveling at 90 miles per hour on North Walnut Street. Fellow starter Parker Stewart was also in the car with Johnson, but not involved. Johnson, who averaged 12.1 points per game and 5.1 assists per game for IU this season, will face charges that are a Class 6 felony for resisting law enforcement and a Class C misdemeanor for reckless driving. No comment has been made by Coach Woodson yet, but IU Athletics stated that they will continue to gather facts, cooperate with, and monitor the legal process. In other news, former Associate Athletic Director for men's basketball Thad Matta will leave the IU program to take over as head coach at Butler University. It is rumored that former Hoosier assistant Dane Fife will join his staff at Butler. Congrats to Coach Matta. To the high school ranks, where Kwame Evans Jr. announced his final 5 schools, including Indiana. The power forward and number 2 overall recruit in the class of 2023 out of Montverde Academy's final list also includes Oregon, Auburn, Kentucky, and UCLA. Evans Jr.'s decision is coming in the near future. And finally, congrats to Evans Jr. and IU signee Jalen Hood-Schifino on winning a 2nd straight Geico National Championship at Montverde Academy in Florida. Hood-Schifino and the Hoosiers are ranked 21 in ESPN's Way Too Early 2022-2023 college basketball rankings. Continuing following along with myself and Jevin McCoskey for all the latest IU men's basketball offseason news. Back to you guys at the desk.
The IU women's tennis team faced rival Purdue last weekend here in Bloomington. Our women's tennis beat reporter Lionel Smeliansky has the recap from the Tennis Center.
April 2nd, 2022, one of the most important dates in recent Indiana women's tennis history. Today, the Hoosiers played host to the Purdue Boilermakers, one of the biggest rivalry in all of college sports, no matter the sport, and in dramatic fashion, they won 4-2. It started off with the doubles matches, and Indiana lost a very tough doubles point as they went into the tie breaks on courts 1 and 2, but could not get it done, unfortunately, as they lost both tie breaks.
I'm just happy for all these players. You know, actually this group, the last couple years during COVID, we haven't been able to beat Purdue, so to be able to do this today, and especially after losing the doubles point, just really proud of the whole team. You know, everybody stepped it up, everybody, played their hearts out, and that's all I asked for, and it was just awesome.
Laura Masic, Laura Schneider, Mila Mach, and Alex Stykulescu, they all won their singles matches, and it all came down to Mila in the end. When Indiana was up 3-2, Mila, all of her teammates came to watch her as she played a tiebreak to win the match for the Hoosiers.
You know, I knew we had the potential to go and win 4 out of the 6 singles or even 5, and I just told them not to, let themselves down and just kind of keep believing, and they did. Every player, I just challenged them, and I said we have to be able to go and play. Let's use that energy from the crowd, and I think they all did. The student athletic board, shout out to them for showing up in full force and be able to cheer the way they did. The men's tennis team came and really helped us out, and our loyal fans, and it was just I think the energy from them, it was very contagious, and we were able to feed off them.
It was a dramatic win, but Coach Romero acknowledges the fact that they have Penn State coming in on Friday, and they can't have too much time to take this win in because they have to prepare for a very good opponent in the Nittany Lions.
Penn State coming in on Friday, little time to relax and enjoy this, but every win in the Big Ten, home or away, is going to be huge. And I think this team is definitely, starting to peak at the right time, starting to believe it at the right time. So just really excited and just see what's going to be next.
For iOS TV Sports, I'm Lionel Smeliansky.
Penn State's up next for the team as they take on the Nittany Lions tomorrow at 4 p.m. in Bloomington.
Indiana men's tennis team had a tough weekend, falling to both Ohio State and Penn State. Our Blake Spillers has the recap.
The Hoosiers opened up the weekend at home on Friday where they took on the Buckeyes. The #1 doubles lineup of Fletchel and Tierspolsky got the win 6-4 in their match, but Ohio State was still able to take the doubles point. Ohio State took this momentum into singles and was able to win at #6, #1, and #3 to clinch the match 4-0. After a day off, the Hoosiers came back determined on Sunday where they took on Penn State on a very windy day in Bloomington. In doubles, Andrei Vukovic got the match going with a huge win 6-1. Haskins and Saylor then clinched the doubles point to give the Hoosiers the early 1-0 lead. Penn State came battling back in singles, keeping the match close the entire way. Patrick Fletcher and Luka Vukovic won their matches to give IU 3 points, but it came down to the last match with Tiraspolsky in a third set tiebreak with the match tied at 3-all. Unfortunately, the Hoosiers came up just short, losing 3-4.
You just gotta try to keep it light. You know, you gotta be too tough on the guys right now. I think they're, you know, taking a couple losses. It's never easy, and a few before that as well. So I think we gotta just keep it light and just keep believing that we can win some of these matches going into next weekend.
They will look to get their first Big Ten win next week, where they travel to take on both Michigan State and Michigan on Saturday and Sunday. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Blake Spillers.
The Hoosiers look to get back on track this weekend. They head up to Michigan to take on both the Wolverines and the Spartans. Be sure to follow along with beat reporters Kara Adams and Blake Spillers for updates.
Track and field headed south last weekend for the Pepsi Florida Relays in Gainesville. The Hoosiers had a hot start with Bailey Hertenstein winning the 1,500-meter race. Under the lights, Jake Gebhardt and Austin Haskett took second and third place in the steeplechase respectively. Sean Mockler kicked off the field events for the Hoosiers by throwing the second best mark in IU history in the hammer throw. Continuing IU's strong performance with Nathan Stone, who tied for gold in the men's pole vault. Saturday's lone event winner on the track was Maddie Dalton in the 3,000-meter race. For the second meet in a row, Morgan Snow collected a personal best in the 200-meter and raced to a fourth-place finish. Indiana returns to action this weekend at the Tennessee Relays in Knoxville.
And that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports. For production crew behind us, I'm Alex Hines.
And I'm Noah Harrison. We'll see you next week.